All right, now where did we leave off? Side note, I figured what I was going to do is just pick back up where I left off yesterday because your girl is unedited and fucking lazy. And then plus, like, if I do the one long video, then I don't know. Not that, like, I have to edit it. There's just, again, I don't do this. So I figure, well, and I was watching the videos back just now, right? And I realized that, like, I didn't even introduce you to the people. Like, who the fuck is Tiffany? I was going to be like, you don't even know who the fuck Tiffany is, but that would make Tim mad. And realistically speaking, we're going to get to everybody because not like I'm ratting everybody out and like reading everybody's name or ass for filth. No, I'm going over a story. I'm sparing nobody because we've all been monsters, either outright or to each other. So, and then again, it just all goes back to Tim. So where did we last leave off? Lydia had, thought that she was like, I don't know, in charge, and she was going to send me home. And, her and Tim's assistant, Tiffany, that's who Tiffany is, they wanted to know when they could book my flight. And, so I talked to my and I left out a couple cool, kind of funny things. Not that they're like important, but cool little facts. So my room, I had gotten a room in the house, and when my phone overheated, I was talking about that, so that video never got uploaded. There were a couple things that happened, like Tim booking my flight and giving me like a room. A couple things that Tim did, like he didn't tell anybody I was coming, right? He booked my flight. That's not the second thing. I'm just putting my hand down. He booked my flight on his own. Like once I said yes, which is something he has asked me over the years, over this course of 10 years, to come to New Jersey or come other places, and I've always either ghosted him, ignored him outright, or just said no, right? And this time I said yes. So I don't know if he tried to reach Tiffany and she didn't answer. I don't know what, because he was like, oh, I'll have my assistant do everything. And I was like, my assistant? Like that was the first sign. Like that was new behavior. Tim never had an assistant, right? And then he hit me back up again and he was like, actually, no, let me just do it. Because I don't know what excuse, but he just started doing it. And we were on the phone and I was like, oh, okay. And then he's like, well, why don't I fly you first class? Because it's, cheap. And I'm like, okay. And like you saw in the Facebook messages, I had told him about my dog and he was like, well, just bring her. And because I had my old dog Phil at the time and I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. So that was another reason why he had booked me a first class ticket, which again, it still makes me uncomfortable even talking about it because I've never that was new to me personally. And not like, oh, that's such a big deal, but it was a big deal to me. And he just made it seem like it was nothing. And I mean, I guess to him it was nothing. And so I get there and these girls, Allison was his person, and he told me that he had a girlfriend, but I didn't know until Allison told me that when I told her that she was his girlfriend, that was the first time she had heard that. Like, he never called her that, ever, to her. So, when I said, the house was listening, I forget who it was. Maybe, Adam had heard or Nishra had heard or somebody had heard him on the phone with me and they were like, oh, who is he talking to? And not, spying. They were just like, oh, that doesn't sound like he sounds happy. And again, I didn't know any of this. And then I get there and I didn't know any of the drama. And I didn't know Adam at all. I didn't watch Tim's show, so I didn't know that there was, that there was a former co-host living there. I didn't know anything. And when I got there, it was so crazy in a sense of, there was one day that we all skated together. And, everybody had such a good... Even fucking Lydia skated. It was the weirdest thing. Yeah. So the crazy thing is, Adam and Lydia I didn't know had hated each other, and they put aside their differences like for one fucking day, and like we all skated together. Even fucking Lydia and Allison skated together. And like that's the thing, is like you don't know because you didn't live at the house, but like that day, looking back, would have I still have no idea how that day fucking happened, because the animosity and the anger and just like, that's my Zen master over there. It's crazy thinking back, because I had no idea that like there were so many problems. By the way, that's also a ground squirrel that you'll hear, that little meeping. I'm out in nature, like I said, at the park. But so yeah. Oh, and one other cool fact. And another thing that Tim did that I didn't ask for, right? Like, he gave me a room. And, like, my room was right next to Ian's. Or not, like, right next to Ian's, but, like, so Ian's room was the old studio, or it became the old studio. It was, like, you would go up the stairs, and it was to the left, and then there was, like, this little, like, theater room, and then there were this stairs on the right to the upstairs studio, and then there was my room, which then became Chris's room. But again, Ben didn't have a room, and I'll get to who Ben is because love her. But yeah, so I was given a room, and there was a couple things that had happened where I think Tim just created kind of like a little bit of hostility and resentment, like, against me, you know? So back to the studio cliffhanger. I'm in the studio. Lydia comes up. She tells me, when can we book your flight home? And because Tim had booked my flight, I was pissed. And so I talked about, oh, sorry. I know I keep doing this. Fucking fuck me, right? One other thing. The first night I was fucking there, Bucko pissed in my room. And I called my friend, the friend that's a publicist here, and I was like, I'm fucking leaving. Like, fuck this place. There's a cat here that just came and, like, was, like, cuddling up on me, was, like, loving up on me, my stuff. And then he, like, went over the wall and pissed on the fucking, like, in the corner. And then she's just, like, she was just dying laughing. And I was like, and you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to clean it and not say anything, because that would be, like, problematic. So did I clean the cat piss and not tell anyone? Fuck yeah. Because I didn't want to be problematic, which is hilarious, looking at the entirety of everything and whatever. So Lydia says the thing, I have the feelings, and I make it a point to say something to her directly. And I don't remember how I came to this conclusion, but I just decided, and I was so fucking nervous. Like, let me tell you, like, I stress sweat now, right? But I was, like, stress sweating then too. And, like, I heard her and Tiffany upstairs, and I was like, perfect opportunity. And I kind of, you know, so in between Lydia saying the thing and me having the emotions, there was a trip to Costco. And let me tell you that, and again, I'm trying not to be catty, but to be slightly catty, the cult never leaves the fucking house. Well, at that point in time, because, like, half of us fucking, because the pandemic or whatever, we didn't have our license. Like, I didn't renew my license, and I wasn't driving, so I didn't care. Ian's license, he didn't renew his license, and it was gonna take a month. Like, there was all these things, and, like, so Tiffany and Lydia were like, you know, and Allison and Tim were the drivers. And, like, back in the day, Tim used to drive me around. So, like, I wasn't used to, and, like, you couldn't ask Tim's assistant to, like, do things for you. That being said, if they were going somewhere, any excuse to leave the house was fucking, I was going, right? So Costco, I'm going. And, like, Andreas went too. So it was Lydia, Tiffany, Andreas, and I. And also, I need to clarify, when I say the cult, Adam and Nishra aren't part of the cult. Their house was a separate entity, so I don't I don't group them in with that at all. because they had their license too. So they would drive wherever the fuck they want. They had their car. They would do shit. I would see them leave all the time, and I would be so jealous. I was like, bye, guys. They were so cool. They are so cool. And again, congratulations, you guys, on your new baby. I'm so happy for them. That's not the point. So we go to Costco, and, like, Lydia's trying to fucking micromanage Andreas. And, like, it was just so uncomfortable because she, like, had it out for that dude. And to the point where, like, I mean, again, Tim was like, it was all bought with Tim's credit card. And he made us go to the... And I'm not saying, like, oh, it was Tim's credit card, so, like, go ham. No, trust me, I was the biggest fucking gatekeeper of Tim's shit. Like, Adam and I were probably the worst fucking people with, like, don't you take advantage. You know what I mean? Like, we had our eyes on everybody. And Adam still to this day has his eyes on me. Like, and again, I love you, Adam. But, you know what I mean? Like, people... I was going to say we didn't trust each other, but maybe that's true. We didn't know each other. We knew Tim. And for me, other than Adam and Nishra, I didn't know Ian. But our first fight, and I'm jumping, was kind of because I saw a lot of opportunists in that house, and I saw a lot of people taking advantage of Tim. So again, it's not like, oh, daddy's credit card. So again, Lydia was just trying to micromanage, and I was just like I just personally felt uncomfortable, and Andreas can sense that. And another thing about the house layout was next to my room was Andreas's room. Like, there was an actual door that you can separate, like the fucking 50s, and it became a conjoining room. And Andreas was kind of like my roommate. Like, we shared a bathroom. So if you're somebody that's been watching me be a maniac online, know that me attacking certain people hurts my heart more than you will ever fucking know, because I loved every single person in that house with the exception of Kent and Tiffany. You know, like, I loved Lydia in a weird way. Well, maybe I didn't love Lydia. I was fine with Lydia. I don't know. So Andreas comes up to me, and he, because I was probably acting weird, because I have massive fucking anxiety. And he kind of, like, puts his hand, like, on my hands, not to be, like, dramatic. But he did. And he was wearing a stupid little space fucking shield, like, thing. And he was like, you know, she acts like don't feel weird or whatever. Because then she started taking it out on me. And I was just kind of like, you know, you already asked me to leave, like, or when can you, like, book my flight home, and now you're, like, being weird about food that, like, Tim had, like, I just, ugh. And so he, like, put his hand on my hand, and he's just like, you know, she's like this to everybody. Like, I know you feel uncomfortable, like, whatever. And I was just like, and it was the first time, like, again, like, I had seen Adam and Nishra, and I had bonded with Ian, but it was the first time, like, I felt like I had a friend in the house. I'm not gonna get upset. I want you to see, I will not let one fucking tear drop. I've wasted too many tears on these people. So, mind over matter that shit, you know? Like, I know it's not necessarily the healthiest, but they're not getting anything else from me. So, it was the first time I felt like I had a friend in that house. And Andreas and I became really close after that. And what happened is later at night, I was hanging out with Ian. And Ian and Andreas were extremely close. So I was bonding with everybody. And then there was one night, too, where, like, you know, Adam had confided in me and told me everything. And Tim most definitely overheard, because I saw his eyes the next fucking day. And he looked like I betrayed him. But I didn't betray him. I was just, like, holding space for another human being. That's it, you know? Hold on. So anyway, then once we get back to the house from our Costco visit, I hear Lydia and Tiffany upstairs, and I use that opportunity to kind of make my move, because of course I was going to handle business. And nobody was going to talk to me that way. And I was going to set the tone. And I decided now that I had a friend, it was Andreas, you know, like, whatever. I felt a little bit more confident is my point. And so, and the funny thing is I gave Andreas confidence too. Like the first time he went on Adam's show, like I sat right next to him, like Adam came to come get me, and like, just so he could feel like normal, like he had a safe person with him. Like, again, I don't know how Andreas and I got to this place either. I mean, I do, but like, it's a fucking bummer. So I'm in my room, I hear the girls, and I like, like leave my room, go up the stairs, and I'm like, hey, can I talk to you guys for a second? And they're like, sure. And I was like, I just wanted, and again, I was petrified, like I was fucking trembling. And I was like, I just wanted to let you guys know, you know, you had asked, and, you know, I told you, oh, I'll get back to you, like, when can you book my flight home? I just wanted to let you know that Tim booked my flight here, and he'll book my flight home. And I was like, so you don't need to concern yourself on when I'm leaving, because I'm staying. Like, you know, like, not like I'm staying, but like I'm staying until Tim decides. Tim booked my flight here. He will book my flight home. Like, you, I don't know you, and you don't need to concern yourself. And I saw Lydia's face. Like, she kind of, nobody, I could tell in that moment that, like, nobody had really put her in her place other than maybe Tim or, but anyway. So then Lydia, like, not trying to have you look at my vagina. I have Lydia, you know, her looking all fucking gobsmacked and fucking, what is it, no, it's not godsmacked, gobsmacked. Either way, she was that. Gobsmacked. A gasp. Okay, that's what she was. And intuitively, because your girl's also mildly psychic, like, I just was like, oh, she's fucking Tim. And so I literally just said, like, and you, I was like, and you shouldn't be fucking your boss. And she was just like, and also Tiffany, I don't know where Tiffany went. Tiffany, I don't think was there. Maybe she was there. I don't remember. But I just remember, I guess she must have been. But I said that, and she was just like, how do you know? And I was like, because I can tell. Like a weirdo. And like, all I knew about Lydia from that moment was like, what Adam had told me, which he did tell me, like, the truth about why, like, what she said. And, like, he came clean, and, like, Adam was very authentically real that night. You know what I mean? And he, like, opened up. He felt safe. And, like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, like, make it a big deal. I'm just trying to say that, like, he was extremely vulnerable. And so, like, I wasn't taking sides by any means, but what Adam did not disclose to me was that Tim and Lydia were sleeping together. Like, he was in his feelings about him losing his job, you know what I mean? And her being an asshole. And I don't know, I guess looking back on it, like, maybe not like there was some alluding. Or no, maybe that's why Adam started talking about it to me, was that night he told me. Because I confronted Lydia, and then I had to, like, of course, tell people. So, like, did I have to technically tell people? No. And that's how I got myself into trouble. This is where the problem started, because I started just being myself, being like, you know, don't fuck your boss. Oh my God, I just told this girl to not fuck her boss. Like, but that's who I am, and that's who I've always been, and that's who Tim has always known me to be. Like, I've never changed. I mean, I have changed over time, but there's certain aspects of my personality that have remained the same, and that is one of them. So it's like, this is not anything new. But it became this thing where, like, Tim was very fiercely protective over Lydia. Very fiercely protective over Lydia. And Lydia was married to somebody who did not treat her well. And that's my own personal opinion. And that's because of things she would share with me. Like, I don't know. And she would share with Ian. Like, you know, and we would talk that we felt bad for her. And not like, oh, we pitied her. We just felt bad for her. And then, you know, after I went and told the peoples, that I told Lydia, no, here's the thing. Tiffany must have gone downstairs when I was like, you know, you guys don't need to worry about it. And then Tiffany went downstairs, and then I was like, and you don't fuck your boss. I had to then tell Tim that I said that to Lydia. And I was so scared, because I was like, well, you were having fun and now you're gonna have to go home because like you're messing with Tim's company. Like you just told somebody who's like on his show, because all I knew then, you know, they had done the show a couple nights, and I knew Ian was on the show and I knew Lydia was on the show, and I knew that like I was just really inappropriate with somebody and I was likely gonna get sent home, and I was bummed. And so, but I knew I had to own it, right? Like I had to take accountability. And so I asked him if I could talk to him, and I brought him down into the basement. And so, you know, Tim and I go downstairs and he shows me, so Cassandra Fairbanks, like Tim's editor-in-chief, her baby's daddy used to do the construction work at the house, and his name is Andy. And her first baby daddy, not her husband. And I'm not like shaming. It looked like I was being, ignore my looks, because sometimes I'm just a girl, okay? Sometimes I'm just a girl. But anyway, Andy, I had made mention to Andy that there were some shelves downstairs that would look nice painted. And Andy's like, well, I could also treat them for mold. And I was like, that would be excellent, because Ian has like a big mold phobia fear thing. And completely warranted. He lived through some stuff. So like, I wanted to get that done for him. So yeah, I wanted to get that done for Ian, kinda, because, you know, like I said, your girl had a crush, and I'm not somebody that, you know, has sex with somebody right away. I'm somebody that will get the shelves painted for you, so they don't smell like mold and you won't have mold. And then I'll have sex with you. And get pregnant in a week, because, you know, that's how I roll. No, I'm just kidding. So Tim comes downstairs, and I didn't tell Andy to do it. Like, again, we just kind of like talked about it. And Tim's like, oh, did you notice that Andy had done the shelves? And I was like, oh, yeah, I didn't. Then I had to like kind of come clean, because like, here I was about to like be like, hey, I talked shit to your producer, and then it's like, oh, hey, and I just spent some of your money too, because like Andy doesn't work for free. So like, I didn't, like, he took it upon himself to do that, and I kind of felt bad. So I was like, oh, I asked him to do that. He's like, no, I loved it. And I was like, okay, but I have to tell you something. And I was like, you know, and I told him first what Lydia, not to be like, I told him first what Lydia did, but I told him first what Lydia did and how she made me feel. And then I told him my response. And then I said, and then I go to him, and then so then I said to him, and then I go, and you don't fuck your boss. And he looked, Tim has this look where he's like, not mad, but kind of like, it's like kind of like an evil villain. Not like an evil villain. Sorry, there's a police helicopter, because they monitor for fires when it's hot out. Not like an evil villain grin, but kind of like, I can't believe you did that, and oh my God, that's amazing. And so I told him, and then Tim just goes, you want to be HR? And I go, what? Like, me? Because again, it's stupid. Like, me as HR is dumb. It doesn't make sense at all. So also, it's funny, the other day, that girl's like, of course we're in HR. The most miserable people are in HR. And it's like, bitch, number one, mildly, I'm bitter, not miserable. And I'm fucking, not HR. I've never been HR. That being said, I was going to go to school to take all the classes to do, because I would have done anything for Tim, dude. I have 20% battery. I'm going to wrap up this story, and then we'll just call it for the day. We'll kind of go, I don't know how we'll do it, but this is how it's working fine now. So anyway, I accept the job as HR, and Tim and I are going up the stairs, and I go, and by the way, I think I like Ian. And he turned around and he put both hands on the wall, and he's like, you do? And I was like, yeah, we've been spending, you know, some time together, and I think I kind of like him.